It's another video from Ozzy's Robot. Brought to you by the Banana Collection.
Welcome back, my friends, to the toys that never end. And today is no different. As always, before we get rolling, get comfortable. If it's morning where you're at, grab that steaming cup of coffee or tea and a snack. And if it's any other time of the day, do the same thing. Get a drink, a snack, get comfortable, kick back in your comfy chair, or even if you're at work, don't let the coworkers see that you're looking at cool stuff, the coolest stuff on the internet, anywhere, ever. Now, if your screen's adjusted properly, because now I'm in control of what you see, and what you see in front of you is not one, not two, but three. Yes, three toys? That's a good question. Are they toys? No, I don't think these are technically toys, but although I guess kids would have played with them. So what do we have here? Well, first of all, these are not from Japan. That much I could tell you. These, my friends, are you ready? Are 1960s. Are you ready for this? Are you ready? These are, I guess you would call them giveaway freebies, tokens, premiums, swag, incentives. They're bank premiums from Mexico. Yes, these are the Mexican banks. I may have done a video on some of these. I don't think so, but I recently acquired this fellow. So I said, you know what? They're static. They don't do anything. So I said, let's put them all together. The ones I have, at least. And I'll do a 3-for-1 showing. Now, one thing that you notice, you may or may not notice, is that the claws are missing on his arms and on one of his. So I only have one claw dangling precariously on this one. So, technically, right? And maybe if the Robot Hut sees this, I could, in theory, send this to him and he can 3D print replacement for all of these, and 3D printed would be perfect, be kind of like the same material. PLA would actually be a great replacement on these. So you know what, let's start with the middle. Now, actually, before we start, what do we have depicted here? Well, in the middle, the gold fellow is sort of a hybrid looking Horikawa robot, the typical Horikawa from the 60s. And again, these were premium giveaway banks. I'm assuming if you opened an account at the Banco Matico in Mexico somewhere. Now, this one is like the Rotato-Matic astronaut, but his face is actually very cool. I mean, in all honesty, had Horikawa created a version that looked like this, I would have been very pleased, because this is just nice looking. So I'm going to pick up the camera and fly over. Look at that face. That's actually, I'm going to tell you, don't get offended if you're a big Horikawa fan, but I kind of like this better than most of the Fly Eyes, certainly better than their astronauts. Maybe because they're so common. But this is just a really cool look, sort of alien. Now, this one, you can see here, again, it follows the traditional patterns of the Horikawa. The thing is, this one is clearly a bank because it has the slot back here. And not only does it have the slot, but it also have a way to retrieve the coins. Now, this plastic is almost fused together just through age, and it's very hard and brittle. It's not something that I would ever, try to put a coin into. And man, you'd have to almost get an X-Acto knife, and so it's not worth messing with, is what I'm trying to say. And then I guess over here you could also pop it out. But, it's one of those things, if you try to pry it out, you might even crack it. So I don't think it's worth anything. Now, I think I got these two from Mexico, and I remember a collector telling me that he actually had bought these, and then the guy reneged on the deal, and then years later he put them back on eBay, and then I sort of gotten them, had acquired them. Me English is not so good. But anyway, I don't know why the gentleman decided not to sell them, but I did it on a wing and a prayer, and thankfully he shipped them to me. Now, this is a a takeoff. These two are sort of like based on the Alps, the Moon Explorer, I guess. Maybe this could be the Missile Man, maybe. The faces for sure. This definitely the Moon Explorer with that. But now the thing about this is this actually a bank? So if I go over here, this looks like it should have been a slot, maybe over here. Let me do it this way. Over here, it should have been a slot, but it's not punched out. And then even if it was, there's no way to retrieve the coins. So I think this was really just kind of like a static toy, almost like an action figure. Now, as for the claw, it's sort of, rigid in there too. It doesn't really, yeah, you can move it a little bit, but again, you'd have to be really careful to pry it out. I'd have to ask John if it's something that he could maybe 3D print. I know some people have those 3D scanners, but anyway, the look of this is really cool. This sort of was my favorite, but that weird concave head one, kind of now it's, sort of growing on me, but probably overall, this one looks like the most complete. It has that like cool antenna. I don't know. And, the features here. So I guess to me, this would be, even the overall, everything about it, like the overall size and everything kind of probably would be my number one personal favorite. It's just subjective. And then this is the one I recently acquired along with a big, I think I did it on my live stream, a big, which I couldn't open because it was so big. It's one of those jumbo Machinders, the one that actually looked kind of 50s-ish. I didn't even put them together, I don't think. And originally I always thought this was kind of goofy. I didn't see the point to that, but now it's just growing on me. It just reminds me of something cartoonish, like somebody dropped an anvil on his head. They both have the jeweled eyes, although these eyes are kind of recessed, as you see here, whereas these ones protrude. That's another reason I like that one. I kind of like the protruding eyes. But again, this is just so wacky looking that I sort of, have grown fond of him. And he has some nice details over here, too. And then he's got the Banco Mexico. And again, this has sort of a slot, right? But now if you look here, it's not really a slot. There's, nothing. You'd have to almost push that in and break this piece off. That's not wide enough to really accommodate almost anything. So, and again, and if you were to put coins in there, unless these were made to be like a piñata and you filled them up with coins and then you just busted them. And if that's the case, man, that would explain why they're actually very rare. So anyway, that's a look at your 3 hard-to-find, difficult, and rare 1960s plastic blow-molded. Now, before I sign off, I could tell you that my coin opera store said he could actually create these again, blow-molded. I think he has the equipment to make blow molded, and he said, hey, you send them to me and I'll make you as many as you want. So that's something to consider, right? Anyway, let me know what you think of these guys. I think they're extraordinarily cool. I never used to have them on my radar, being that I wasn't huge on plastic, but I just dig these guys. And if you do too, you know what you can do? You could thumb up the video. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Share the video if you can. And as always, I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me, and I'll talk to you later.